Hi friends, Angela here. I've got two little helpers today and we are going to do a plant rehab. I was gifted this gift by a neighbor and it needs a little TLC, so I thought we could do it together. Let's go ahead. All right, so like I said, this gift was given to me. My neighbors have just moved. They moved to the big city and she had this plant and she said, you know, I don't have room for it in our new house or a new place. I don't know if it's a house or an apartment. But she said, I knew you loved plants and I thought you could take care of it. From what I can tell, we have at least 4 really beautiful big jade plants there, okay? I can see some new ones starting, and then there's that, and a little bit of that. There's also sticks in here, some leaves from outside, and my favorite, a snail shell. So I'm not sure where she had this plant. I never saw it in her backyard. And at the same time, you know, I don't mean to rag on it too much because inside here, you can see we have lots of new growth. Sorry, I'm like way up in the camera here. But you can see the bright new leaves at the top. That's all new growth. So I think what's happening in here is it's healthy. But we're gonna just have to really dig in, I think, to see what's actually going on. And then this is like a trailing jade or something. I don't know. If you know what that is, let me know in the comments. I think I'm gonna save it, but I don't think we're gonna pot it up with the rest of the jade. So anyways, let's go ahead and start digging. Okay, so I decided to come down a little bit closer so that you all could hopefully see what I'm trying to accomplish here. I found one hook that I can unhook, which is really good news. This is, like I said, this is a really hardy wire and I couldn't even bend it. But I want to take the plant out and I kind of want to preserve the pot. I think, oh, it's hooked. I think this whole thing is homemade. This is really unique. So there's a plastic piece here at the bottom. And I'm noticing now that it's actually, let's see if you all can see it too. Right there. So there's the plastic piece, and right there, okay, that's thread. So whoever has made this basket out of, I don't know, maybe it's not blackberry vines, but maybe it's a vine instead of a stick. They've threaded, they've sewn in this basket, or this liner, that's the word. Sorry guys. Anyways, I know we're like 10 minutes in already. Not quite, but I wanted to get that out of the way. They're playing in my dirt pile with their zombies and army men. Anyways, let's pull out all this trash. This is very dry, which is good. If you don't know anything about jades, they need to be that way. You don't want them very wet. Now, I'm going to try to take off any of this extra soil that I can. This is my brand new car, but my husband's not home, so he won't know. There. Thank you. So whatever this is, I've seen it before. It's a little like trailing jade or something. Let me know in the comments what it is. It broke apart very easily. We'll find a new pot for it. Okay, so as you can see, I went ahead and cleaned up my mess a little bit. I'm left with 4, kind of 5. This is like the 5th one over here. Beautiful new plants. You can see there's lots of roots that are very healthy. Overall, I think this is really good. I can see that this plant probably was cut off from somewhere. because there's a new one growing at the base. So I'm going to try to kind of get that under the soil a little bit. But I have 2 pots here. They are both big because I knew that I needed it wide at the top but kind of more narrow at the bottom. And I'm going to use some really well draining soil. I'm not quite sure what look I want to go with, which is why I brought them both in. They're repurposed. I've used them both before, but I feel like sometimes you just have to have the right look, you know what I mean? So I'm going to put both plants in one pot. That looks really good. And that, ooh, that's perfect. See how, do you see how much that makes a difference? You know what I mean? This is gorgeous, and it kind of gives like an old world feel, but I feel like when in this pot, it really, instead of the pot standing out, it's more of a compliment to the jade tree. You see what I mean? Yes, thank you. Okay, so we decided on the pot we're gonna go with. I'm gonna move this out of the way. And I always put a piece of broken terracotta at the bottom to cover up the hole so none of the soil drains out when I water everything. So you should start doing that too. So I went ahead and grabbed all the soil, and I have a big bin down there of some kind of lightly used repurposing soil that we're going to use to kind of fill in. But I don't have really great options in my town, and this year I haven't spent a lot of time outside of my small town for many reasons. But Miracle Grow is what's available here. It's not my favorite. First of all, it's a big ugly brand, and you guys know I like to shop small.
Mom, don't say ugly.
Sorry, honey. Thank you. And I think it contains like the soil. The soils contain a lot of salt, and you can see that on the terracotta pot. So not my favorite. But I do have this Fox Farm that I was able to grab, and it's really good. It's got lots of nutrients. We'll call them nutrients, vitamins, minerals, all of that good stuff for the plant. And I use this for my propagating. So I don't put a ton of this in everything that I repot. But it's kind of like my specialty when I need a little extra boost. So we're gonna get some of that, and then we are gonna use, yes, and then we're gonna use some perlite just to help with some added drainage, and somewhere in there, I have a cactus and succulent mix right here. So we're just gonna kind of dig it all up, put it together. I'm gonna use some of this extra soil down at the bottom that the boys are digging in to just kind of fill up the pot, making sure that it's a really well draining soil mix so that these roots don't get root rot. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Okay, so I went ahead, I'm gonna get started on potting this up. I put in more soil, whoops, you can't see me, more soil than I actually need. But, well, before you just shove a plant in too, right? You wanna make sure that it all works together and it looks good. So I'm gonna probably play around with it a little bit, make sure everything is situated the right way, and I might end up cutting off some of these extra limbs and putting them in a separate container. But we'll go ahead and play with that for a second here. I went ahead, I got it all potted up in here. Look at this. It looks really good, doesn't it? Way better. I think than originally, per my taste. But one last final step. I am not a fan of topsoil showing, especially if it has perlite in it. Just not my favorite. And I've tried a few different things. For some plants, I can use moss. I would not put moss on here. It would retain too much moisture. But orchid potting mix is kind of one of my new favorites. Sometimes I mix it in so that I have really chunky blends, but I go through and I get the big chunks of bark, basically, and I just like to sprinkle it on top. It will retain a little bit of moisture, but not something I have to worry about when I'm using a terracotta pot, because they dry out really well, and I know I'm not going to water this but once a month probably, and so it's going to be okay. It's not going to retain that much moisture, not something that I'm really going to need to worry about. So anyways, it's a little loose and wobbly right now because I used really dry soil, which is not my favorite technique for repotting something, but because I'm inside, I didn't do any pre-mixing to pre-moisten, but it's doing pretty good. So once I water it, it will kind of, like this one right here, will firm up a little bit in the soil, and everything will be much better. So I still have, let me show you, I want to spill. I have 2 extra shoots here that I'm going to put in a different, much smaller pot. And then I'm going to repot this little guy. But again, I still don't know what it is, so I got to do some research about it, and then you'll probably see it in an upcoming video. So if you made it through this video, you guys are so awesome. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was relaxing and kind of fun to hang out with me and the kids for a little bit this morning. If you want more content like this, make sure you subscribe. If you haven't already, set your notification bell to all so that you're notified when I upload a new video. I do lots of plant shopping. Well, not lots, but I do enough. Enough plant shopping to keep you interested, repotting, and lots of propagation, because that is way more fun to be able to prop and then gift and sell. So I hope you guys have a great rest of the day, whatever time of day or evening that you're watching this. Have a good one, and we'll see you in the next video. Oh, and I almost forgot. Make sure you find me on all the socials, right? I'm on Facebook and Instagram, so look me up, and let's go ahead and join a plant community where we can exchange more dialogue in a better place than YouTube comments. All right, have a good one. Bye.